Hey everyone, welcome to this deep dive, and today we are going to be looking at U 2.0, The Psychology of Reinvention by Dr. Abhay Gupta. It's really a fascinating book, all about how to navigate change and become the best version of ourselves in a world that is, constantly changing. So if you're feeling stuck in a rut or just ready for a change, this deep dive is for you. Now, one of the things that really struck me as I was reading this book was how much emphasis Dr. Gupta puts on the idea that clinging to an outdated identity can actually be more damaging than the fear of change itself. Have you ever felt that? Like you're holding on to a version of yourself that just doesn't fit anymore. Maybe it's a job title, a relationship, or even just a way of seeing yourself that used to serve you, but now it's holding you back. Well, Dr. Gupta dives deep into the psychology behind this and offers a roadmap for letting go of that old identity and embracing the new. And one of the biggest obstacles he addresses is that myth that our brains lose their ability to adapt as we age. You know, that whole "you can't teach an old dog new tricks" thing. Well, Dr. Gupta debunks that myth completely.
He explains that our brains are incredibly adaptable, constantly forming new neural pathways based on our experiences. This is called neuroplasticity, and it means that even in midlife, we can rewire our thought patterns, our behaviors, and even our self-perception. So it's never too late to learn a new skill, start a new career, or even reinvent yourself entirely. And here's the truly empowering part. Your identity is not set in stone. You have way more control over who you become than you might realize. It's not about erasing your past or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about building on your past experiences and consciously choosing to evolve into a more aligned and authentic version of yourself. So you're not starting from scratch. You're simply upgrading to U 2.0. Now I get it, change can be scary. But Dr. Gupta makes a really brilliant point. Fear is often a sign that we're on the right track. It means we're stepping outside of our comfort zones, pushing our boundaries, and moving towards something bigger and better. So don't let fear paralyze you. Let it fuel your growth. Now, to help us navigate this process of reinvention, Dr. Gupta breaks it down into 3 distinct phases.
And understanding these phases is kind of like having a roadmap for your journey right. It helps you navigate the twists and turns and stay focused on your destination. So let's take a look at these phases. The first phase is all about letting go of your old identity. It's about acknowledging that your past achievements, job titles, or roles don't define your future. And this doesn't mean rejecting your past or feeling ashamed of who you've been. It's just about recognizing that you've evolved, and it's time to shed the parts of yourself that no longer serve you. Think of it like decluttering your mental closet. You're getting rid of those old beliefs and thought patterns that are just taking up space and holding you back. It's about making room for new possibilities and creating a blank canvas for your reinvention. The second phase is where the real magic happens. This is where you start rebuilding your mindset, developing new habits, and acquiring the skills and knowledge you need to thrive in your new reality. It's about shifting from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, from seeking security to actively pursuing growth and expansion. It's like renovating your house.
You've cleared out the clutter, and now you're designing a space that truly reflects your style and meets your needs. You're choosing new colors, bringing in new furniture, and creating a space that feels inspiring and empowering. And that's what this phase of reinvention is all about, designing a mental space that supports your growth and allows you to flourish. And finally, the third phase is all about adapting to your new reality and making those changes stick. It's about integrating your new identity into your daily life, navigating the inevitable challenges that arise, and continuously evolving as you grow. This phase is about celebrating your progress, acknowledging your achievements, and making reinvention an ongoing process, not a one-time event. You know, to illustrate the importance of these phases, Dr. Gupta shares a really interesting comparison in the book. He talks about 2 professionals who are both at a midlife crossroads. One of them clings to their past expertise, resisting change and feeling threatened by the rapidly evolving world around them, while the other one embraces reinvention, seeing it as an opportunity to learn, grow, and stay relevant. Fast forward 5 years, and the one who embraced change is thriving, not because they had better resources or anything, but because they adopted a growth mindset and actively engaged in the process of reinvention. This example just highlights how powerful your mindset is when it comes to reinvention. It's not about luck, circumstances, or even talent. It's about your willingness to embrace change, to learn and adapt, and to believe in your ability to create the life you desire. And that's precisely what we'll be exploring in more depth throughout this deep dive. So are you ready to embark on this journey of self-discovery and transformation? Are you ready to unlock your full potential, become the best version of yourself? Great. Then let's dive into the first phase, letting go of the old identity. All right, so we're back and ready to explore this first phase of reinvention. Letting go of that old identity. I think this can be one of the trickiest parts of the whole process because our identities, even the ones that aren't really working for us anymore, they can feel so familiar, like a comfy old sweater, even if it's full of holes, you just can't seem to part with it. But the thing is Dr. Gupta points out, holding on to an outdated identity, it can really hold you back. It's like staying in a job that you absolutely hate just because it's familiar. You might be comfortable in a way, but are you truly thriving? Not really. So how do we actually start letting go of these outdated parts of ourselves? Well, Dr. Gupta gives us a really clear 4-step process in U 2.0 that can help us move through this phase. The first step is all about taking a moment to appreciate what your current identity has given you. So instead of just rejecting that past self, completely try to honor it. Think about all the skills, the experience, the insights you've gained from this identity. It served a purpose right. But that purpose doesn't have to define your entire future. It's more about celebrating what you've accomplished so far and using that as fuel to propel yourself forward. For example, let's say you've been a stay-at-home parent for years, and now you're feeling a pull to go back to a professional career. Instead of dwelling on the time you've been away from the workforce, think about the incredible skills you've honed as a parent. Things like organization, time management, problem-solving, emotional intelligence. These are all valuable assets that you can absolutely bring to a new path. Okay, so the second step is about shifting your perspective on identity itself. Dr. Gupta encourages us to see our identities as fluid and evolving, not fixed and rigid. We're not just one thing, right? We're complex beings with so many layers and dimensions that change and grow throughout our lives. So instead of saying, I'm a lawyer, you might say, I have experience in law and now I'm exploring my passion for writing. It's about recognizing that who you are, it's not set in stone. It's a work in progress, a story that's constantly unfolding. And this shifting perspective can be so freeing. It allows you to see yourself as a dynamic individual with the potential to constantly grow and change rather than feeling trapped by a label or a past role. And this is where things start to get really fun. The third step is all about experimenting with your new identity before you fully commit to it. So this is your chance to play around, to explore and discover what truly resonates with you without the pressure of making a big decision right away.
Like, imagine you've always dreamt of being a musician, but you spent your career in finance. Instead of just quitting your job and jumping headfirst into the music industry, you might start by taking guitar lessons or joining a local band or even just writing songs in your spare time. This allows you to test the waters a bit to see if this new path really aligns with your passions and aspirations. It's kind of like trying on different outfits before you buy one, right? You want to make sure it fits well, feels comfortable, and reflects your personal style. And the same goes for your identity. Experimentation lets you try on different roles, skills, and ways of being to see what feels authentic and aligned with your evolving self. And finally, the fourth step is about managing how other people react to your changes. Because, let's face it, not everyone in your life is going to get it or support your reinvention journey. And that's okay. Change can be unsettling for those around us, especially if they're used to seeing us in a certain way. So Dr. Gupta advises us to be prepared for some pushback. People can be resistant to change, even when it's positive change happening to someone they care about.
He suggests communicating your intentions clearly to those closest to you, but not seeking their validation. Because ultimately, this is your journey, and you're the one who gets to decide what feels right for you. And it's super important to surround yourself with a supportive community during this time. Find people who inspire you, who are positive and encouraging of your growth, and who believe in your ability to create a fulfilling life. And maybe distance yourself a little from those who bring you down or reinforce limiting beliefs. Remember, you're not trying to convince anyone of your worthiness. You're simply stepping into your power and living a life that feels true to you. Now, to show how powerful this 4-step process can be, Dr. Gupta shares a case study at U 2.0 about a woman named Sarah. Sarah had spent her whole career in the corporate world climbing the ladder and achieving a lot of success by traditional standards. But despite all her outward achievements, she felt this growing sense of emptiness and a longing for something more fulfilling. She had always loved art, but she kind of pushed that passion aside to focus on her practical career. So, using Dr. Gupta's 4-step process, Sarah began her own reinvention journey. She started by acknowledging all the valuable skills she developed in the corporate world, things like leadership strategy and communication. Then she reframed her identity, seeing herself not just as a businesswoman, but as a creative individual with a passion for art. And she started experimenting, taking art classes, visiting museums, even setting up a small studio in her home. And importantly, she surrounded herself with other artists and creative people who inspired and supported her growth. Now, of course, there was some pushback at first. Some people in her life questioned her decision and worried about her financial security. But Sarah stood firm in her commitment to her reinvention because she knew she was creating a life that was truly aligned with her heart and soul. Within a few years, Sarah had successfully transitioned from a high-powered executive to a thriving artist. She built a successful art business, showcasing her work in galleries and online, and she found a level of fulfillment and joy that she had never experienced before. And what's so inspiring about Sarah's story is that it shows us that reinvention is truly possible at any age and any stage of life. It's about having the courage to let go of what's no longer serving us, to embrace our passions, and to create a life that feels authentic and meaningful. It's about recognizing that our identities are not fixed but fluid and ever-evolving, and that we have the power to shape our own stories. So as you start on your own reinvention journey, remember those 4 powerful steps. Acknowledge the gifts of your past identity. Reframe your identity as fluid and evolving. Experiment with your new identity before committing. And manage the reactions of others with grace and compassion. By embracing these steps, you can begin to let go of the old and make space for the extraordinary individual you're becoming. All right, so we're back, and we've talked about letting go of that old identity that might be holding us back. Now we're getting to the really exciting part, actually building that new mindset and making this reinvention a reality. It's kind of like this, you've cleared out all the clutter, you've said goodbye to that old version of yourself. And now it's time to lay down a really strong foundation for the new you to thrive. And that's where developing what Dr. Gupta calls a reinvention mindset becomes so important. He dedicates a whole chapter in U 2.0 to this idea, emphasizing that change isn't just about external stuff, like getting a job or moving to a new city. It really starts with an internal shift in how we think and how we perceive and respond to change itself. So Dr. Gupta outlines 3 core pillars of this reinvention mindset. And these are kind of like the cornerstones of your new foundation. The first pillar is the growth mindset. You've probably heard this term before. It's the belief that your abilities, your intelligence, even your identity, they're not fixed. They can be developed through effort, learning, and experience. Think about someone learning a new language, right? Someone with a fixed mindset might get discouraged by those early struggles and give up pretty easily. But someone with a growth mindset, they embrace those challenges. They see them as opportunities to learn and improve. They understand that making mistakes is a natural part of the process, and that each setback is actually bringing them closer to fluency. And Dr. Gupta emphasizes that embracing a growth mindset is absolutely crucial for successful reinvention. It's about believing in your ability to learn new things, adapt to new situations, and become the person you want to be. The second pillar is the adaptability mindset. This is all about becoming comfortable with uncertainty and really embracing change as a constant in life. We live in a world where things are constantly in flux, and if you cling to the need for certainty, it's only going to hold you back. Think of it like navigating a winding road. You might have your destination in mind, but there will be unexpected detours and turns along the way. Someone with an adaptability mindset doesn't get flustered by those changes. They adjust their course, they make the most of the journey, and they trust that they'll eventually reach their destination. In the book, Dr. Gupta highlights this amazing story of a woman who successfully transitioned from a corporate career to being an entrepreneur. She faced so many unexpected challenges, but instead of getting discouraged, she just kept adapting her business plan. She embraced new opportunities, and she used those challenges to learn and grow. It was her adaptability that allowed her to thrive in such a constantly changing environment. And finally, the third pillar is the resilience mindset. This is what keeps you going when things get tough, when you face setbacks, when that self-doubt starts creeping in. Resilient people don't see failures as defeats. They see them as opportunities for learning and growth. They bounce back from challenges, they dust themselves off, and they try again with even more determination. It's like having this mental armor that protects you from those inevitable bumps and bruises you'll encounter along your reinvention journey. Dr. Gupta actually tells this very inspiring story of a man who, in his 50s, lost his job and completely reinvented himself as a consultant. It wasn't an easy journey for him by any means. He faced rejections and self-doubt and financial struggles, but his resilience is what kept him going. He learned from his setbacks, he adapted his approach, and he eventually built a successful consulting business. So now that we understand these 3 pillars, let's talk about how we can actually rewire our minds to make them a part of who we are. Dr. Gupta gives us several practical steps that can help us cultivate these essential mindsets. First, he says, become aware of your inner critic. You know that voice inside your head that just loves to feed you all those negative thoughts and doubts? Yeah, that one. Start paying attention to your self-talk. When you catch yourself thinking things like, I'm too old, or I'm not good enough, or I'll never be able to do this, stop and challenge those thoughts. Ask yourself, are these thoughts really true? Or are they just based on fear and insecurity and past experiences? Remember, your thoughts are not facts, they're just thoughts. And you have the power to choose which thoughts you believe and which ones you let go of. Dr. Gupta suggests trying to reframe negative thoughts into positive statements. For example, if you catch yourself thinking, I'm not smart enough to start my own business, try reframing it as, I'm a lifelong learner, and I'm willing to put in the effort to develop the skills I need to succeed. Another crucial step is taking action. Even small steps can make a huge difference in reinforcing those new beliefs. The more you act in alignment with your desired identity, the more your brain will start to believe it. It's like training a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Surrounding yourself with a growth-oriented network is also so key. Connect with people who inspire you, who are positive and supportive of your goals, and who truly believe in your ability to succeed. Their energy and their encouragement can be so valuable during your reinvention journey. And finally, one of the most powerful things you can do to cultivate that reinvention mindset is to celebrate your progress. Acknowledge your achievements, no matter how small they might seem, and give yourself credit for all the effort you're putting in. Reinvention is a marathon, not a sprint, so it's important to acknowledge and appreciate those milestones along the way. So as we wrap up this deep dive into You 2.0, the psychology of reinvention, I want to leave you with this final thought. Reinvention isn't just a one-time event, it's an ongoing process. It's a commitment to growth and evolution and lifelong learning. It's about embracing change as an opportunity to become the very best version of yourself. So go out there and create the life you've always dreamt of. You have the power, the resilience, and the adaptability to make it happen. And remember, you're not alone. You 2.0 is your guidebook, your roadmap, and your source of inspiration every step of the way.